Hey everybody, Chris Choe here, broker owner of One Rate, located out of the DC metro area, and we're licensed in 15 states. Today I wanted to talk to you about the housing bubble, or maybe there is not. But a lot of folks on Facebook groups, and then I'm talking to folks around, my neighborhood and my communities, and they're all talking about, is there a housing bubble? Or maybe some of them are saying, hey, I'm gonna wait for the bubble to be done, or for the home prices to actually slow down and increasing because they feel like it's overinflated. Now, before we get into is it really a housing bubble or not, I think we got to understand what the word bubble is. When in work or anything I do, I kind of like to understand the definition of that word before starting to try to presume and make assumptions of what that word really means, right? In my own interpretation. So let's take a look at what the word bubble means from Investopedia. So here, the word bubble, they're labeling it as a bubble is an economic cycle that is characterized by the rapid escalation of market value, particularly in the price of assets. This fast inflation is followed by a quick decrease in value or a contraction that is sometimes referred to as a crash or a bubble burst. Now here, I think this is more fascinating. Typically, the bubble is created by a surge in asset prices. I think this is where a lot of folks think it's a housing bubble. Surge in asset prices that is driven by exuberant market behavior. During a bubble, assets typically trade at a price or within a price range that greatly exceeds the asset's intrinsic value. Now, if we take a look at that word of intrinsic value and then the fundamentals of an asset, a lot of folks are saying about the housing market right now is that that home is not worth whatever that price is. It's not worth for that home price to keep escalating during the bidding wars. Now, the reason why it's actually going up is because there's a scarcity. There's a lack of inventory in the marketplace. And, a great way before I get into kind of like the two articles that I want you to read, I posted it on my LinkedIn profile, is to make a kind of comparison to something that we're all familiar with. So it's going to be like trading cards. So for example, my son here has a trading card. This is a Pokemon Mewtwo GX. You can look it up, 76/73. Okay. At the peak of the pandemic, this was on eBay. This was going for around $400. Right now, I just looked it up. In the last 2 months, this card is selling between $100 to $225. Now, why is that? Because this came out of a pack that was worth $4. And I'm sure, I think that pack has 20 cards. So that means so each card, what is that? It's like 30 cents, 40 cents. I'm not great with math because I'm using a calculator all the time, but it's like 30, 40 cents. And, it's now being sold on eBay for upwards of $225 as of a few weeks ago from the day of this recording. Now, it's because there's a lack of inventory. There's not a lot of these cards out there. There's a scarcity. And that's why the price of this card is going sky high. Now, if we take a look at it from a housing perspective, the reason why the home prices are so high and the reason why it's not a bubble, a lot of folks think it is and they're waiting for the market to crash. It's not going to. And the reason being is the main reason why the housing prices are going up is because there's an inventory shortage. And a lot of folks know that. And the reason why there is twofold. One is this article I wrote right here. If we go into it. So in this article here, I write about why there's a shortage. Basically, after the last housing crash, now, I'm not saying there's a crash right now or there's a housing bubble, but the last housing crash, the financial crash of 2008, the real estate industry started to build less homes. And you can read it here. Since then, we're supposed to be building about 1 million homes per year. Since the housing crash, we were building 500,000 homes only. So you think about that. That stacks on top. The lack of inventory since 2008 until the housing market started to pick up in 2020 because of the pandemic. For about 12 years, over a decade, we've been short 500,000 homes per year. So over a decade, that's 5 million to 6 million homes that we're short. And now everybody wants to buy homes. The millennials wants to buy homes. The Gen Zs wants to buy homes. And now we have a big inventory shortage. And it's going to take a long time for our inventory to catch up. Even if we're building 1.5 million, 2 million homes per year, we have 6 million homes in inventory gap that we got to rebuild. And so where are we right now? So there's an article that I posted today as of February 23rd about where we're at in the current housing market. So you can take a look here and read upon it. But basically what it's saying is that we should be having about, on average, close to a 6-month supply of inventory in the housing market in order to be a neutral market. Anything above a 6 is called a buyer's market. Anything below is considered a seller's market. Now, a typical seller's market is going to be about 3 months worth of inventory. But if you take a look, where are we at? We're at 1.6 months across the country. 1.6. So far below. And the reason being is what I shared with you in my previous article about is because we've been building only 500,000 homes per year. And so we're lacking 5 million to 6 million homes in inventory. So it's going to take a very long time for inventory to catch up and for this housing market to cool down. Regardless if the rates are rising, there's still going to be a tremendous amount of demand. And those folks that are willing to buy homes, they're not going to have as much competition because of the fact that the interest rates are rising. So just keep that in mind, that if you're waiting, if you're trying to do the waiting game and waiting for you to buy a house because you're waiting for those home prices to come down, it's not going to. It's a supply and demand. It's just simple economics. And there's not enough supply for the amount of demand that there is out there. Hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please click like, subscribe, and comment below if it was. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks.